Hello there, everyone. If you're watching this video, then you are part of the TTOR army, an army that is building itself up one subscriber at a time. As you can see from the title and thumbnail of today's video, today we're going to be talking about Mark Stoney, of all people. And as we're going to see in today's video, Mark Stoney, at least by his own video, has accidentally proved that Brett Keane did not lie when Brett Keane said that Mark Stoney falsely claimed that Brett Keane had beat his own wife in the past. Now, I want to make one thing clear. I have a lot of respect for Mark Stoney. He not only served his country in the military, but he managed to live to tell the story, and he was honorably discharged, not dishonorably like Kent Hovind claims. And not only that, but Mark Stoney has a family. He had a wife and a daughter, and then the wife passed away, so now he takes care of his daughter as a male widow, and he does the best he can for her, and he was part of exposing Kent Hovind, especially when the whole Chris Jones thing went down in 2019. Ever since that happened, Mark Stoney has gotten on board with exposing Kent Hovind for the lying charlatan and the pedo enabler that he is, which I commend Mark Stoney for that. And I've personally witnessed Kent Hovind defame Mark Stoney over and over and over again. Over and over again, up until even just a few days ago, Kent Hovind claims that Mark Stoney was dishonorably discharged from the military. And I've seen multiple videos on Mark Stoney's part where he shows his discharge papers on screen, and it literally says that he was honorably discharged. How many times does Mark Stoney have to show off his discharge papers that say he was honorably discharged before Kent Hovind stops accusing him of being dishonorably discharged? Then there was the time where Kent Hovind said, well, yeah, the way he treats his daughter is horrible, and they actually sent CPS out to investigate him. And what Kent doesn't tell you, and what Mark Stoney showed on his channel at one point, was the actual CPS report that came at the conclusion of their investigation. And it says that the charges that were made against Mark Stoney in relation to how he takes care of his daughter were unfounded. So Mark Stoney has been viciously defamed and gaslit and attacked publicly by Kent Hovind with demonstrable lies, and Kent keeps repeating them no matter how many times Mark Stoney keeps disproving them with documentation. So because of that, I have a lot of respect for Mark Stoney. But unfortunately, Mark Stoney, he made a big mistake recently. He had a screw up, a slip up. He did something he really should not have done. He went after Brett Keane, and unfortunately, in this particular instance, he did not tell the truth about Brett Keane. So what are we talking about in particular? Well, on the night that Kent Hovind was banned from YouTube, his primary channel and his DAL channel, Mark Stoney had a live stream that was almost 3 hours long where he and a bunch of other people got together to celebrate Kent Hovind getting banned from YouTube. And it is on Brett Keane's channel where Brett Keane reveals something very weird that happened on Mark Stoney's channel where he was celebrating Kent Hovind being banned from YouTube. Brett's video in particular, which you can see on screen, is titled Kent Hovind Official and Dinosaur Adventureland Terminated Part 2. This video came out last week and in 6 days has over 1,000 views already, so it's getting a lot of traffic, which is good for Brett's channel growth. But it is at the 11-minute and 21-second mark of this video where Brett says the following.
When I went over to Mark's channel, Mark lied straight out in front of his audience as well as a group of people. He claimed that I domestically abused my wife and my mother. Now, it gets worse. He then goes on to lying and saying that Brett Keane admitted to this. I have never admitted to doing anything like that because nothing like that has ever happened.
So, Brett Keane claims that on Mark Stoney's live stream, that Mark Stoney accused Brett Keane of beating his wife, and that Mark Stoney falsely claimed that Brett had admitted this. So, did this actually happen? Well, Mark Stoney claims that no such thing happens because not long after Brett put out that video, Mark Stoney put out his own video titled Brett Keane Lies Again. And it is at the 1 minute and 16-second mark of this video where we see the following.
When I went over to Mark's channel, Mark lied straight out in front of his audience as well as a group of people. He claimed that I domestically abused my wife and my mother. Now, it gets worse. He then goes on to lying and saying that Brett Keane admitted to this. I have never admitted to doing anything like that because nothing like that has ever happened.
Okay.
I'm a guest on YouTube. I'm not monetized.
I don't think
in any big program or anything. So go ahead.
I don't think we should promote wife beaters, mother beaters.
Mark lied straight out in front of his audience as well as a group of people. He claimed that I domestically abused my wife and my mother.
I don't think we should promote wife beaters, mother beaters.
Now, it gets worse. He then goes on to lying and saying that Brett Keane admitted to this. I have never admitted to doing anything like that because nothing like that has ever happened.
Fair point.
Stop making up rumors. Hey, stop making up rumors, all right? That's not like there's actual legal documentation that verifies that those are indeed charges that were filed against him.
Hold on. There's actually video of him admitting to it.
Mark lied straight out in front of his audience as well as a group of people.
Well, yeah, but don't worry. He says that it's because of his daughter, because why would he actually be responsible for
Well, why would you beat your mother and your wife, right? Yeah.
Mark lied straight out in front of his audience as well as a group of people.
Now, at this point in the video, things are actually looking pretty good for Mark Stoney, because Brett claimed that Mark Stoney is the one who claimed that Brett Keane had beaten his wife and his mother, and that Brett had allegedly admitted to this. And so far in this video that we've seen, Mark Stoney shows clips of the other people in the stream saying that Brett Keane beat his wife and his mother, and that Brett Keane had admitted to this. And the whole time they're saying this, you see Mark Stoney on camera sitting there not speaking. So things are looking very good. And then we're paused at this part where Mark Stoney puts a slide that says, "This is what I actually said." And now at this point, the first time I watched this video, I fully expected the next clip to be Mark Stoney saying, "Look, guys, I know that Brett's been accused of beating his wife and his mother, but we don't have any real evidence that this has actually happened. And even if it did happen, it was a long time ago, and Brett's moved beyond it, and, him and his wife have a good relationship now, so, there's no need to drudge up, ancient history. We should focus on Kent Hovind right now, because that's why we're here tonight." I expected fully Mark Stoney to say something like that, especially after everything we have just watched up until this point in his video. But then that's when this video takes a really bizarre turn.
And I think we already know that Brett's pretty much unstable. He admits it himself. I don't think he tries to hide it. And you know what? I get it. People have had checkered pasts, but you got to come clean. You got to be like, look, I did this. I was wrong. I regret it. I wish I could go back and change it. And you got to make it right. You got to make it right. You got to rectify the relationship.
And then the next day delete it off of your YouTube channel.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Whoa, wait a minute. That's not at all what I was expecting Mark Stoney to say. So Mark Stoney shows these other people on his live stream saying that Brett Keane beat his wife and his mother, and that Brett Keane allegedly admitted to this. And it makes it seem like, okay, Mark Stoney's right. Brett Keane lied about Mark Stoney claiming that Brett beat his wife. But then Mark Stoney says, well, here's what I actually said. And we see a clip of Mark Stoney saying that Brett Keane is unstable and that he has a checkered past and that he just needs to come clean about what he's done, and he needs to make restitution to the people he's people he's hurt, and he needs to move on. Now, the way that Mark Stoney has organized this video, he makes it seem like he's actually agreeing with the other people who claimed that Brett Keane beat his wife and his mother and admitted to doing so on video in the past. Because what does he say? Oh, well, you know, Brett is unstable and he's got a checkered past and he just needs to come clean about it. Mark Stoney is very much in agreement with the people who claim that Brett beat his wife and his mother in the past. This means that Brett Keane did not lie when he said that Mark Stoney alleged that Brett Keane beat his wife and his mother in the past. Now, Mark Stoney himself did not say the words, you know, Brett Keane beat his wife and his mother like the other guys did, but he hinted that they were right in their claim because he claims, well, Brett's unstable and he's got a checkered past and he just needs to come clean about it. In other words, Mark Stoney is implying very strongly that Brett Keane did beat his wife and mother, and he has to apologize for that and come clean about it. So Brett Keane did not actually lie, Mark Stoney, and for some reason, you thought posting this on your video was going to prove that Brett Keane lied about what you said. Are you nuts? In what universe did you think that posting this was a good idea? In what universe did you think that this was going to make you look like the guy who did not accuse Brett Keane of beating his wife and mother? What were you thinking, bro? Now, I will reiterate as I did at the beginning, I have respect for Mark Stoney as a person, for serving his country through the military, surviving to tell the tale, being honorably discharged, and helping expose Kent Hovind for the wife beater and the pedo enabler and the lying charlatan that he is, and for standing up and disproving all of the defamatory attacks on him that Kent Hovind has been committing publicly up until the present moment. But Brett Keane is one of my friends, and I can't let this slide, Mark. You cannot claim that Brett Keane lied when Brett said that you said that he had beaten his wife and his mother, and then you turn around in your video and post a clip where you accuse Brett Keane of being unstable and having a checkered past and how Brett needs to come clean and apologize and make restitution to the people he's hurt and move on. You cannot say that and expect us to believe that Brett Keane lied about you saying that Brett beat his wife and his mother. You clearly implied in this clip that we just watched that Brett did beat his wife and mother, even though we have no hard evidence that that actually happened. This kind of infighting between all of us who are working on exposing Kent Hovind for the lying fraudster that he is and the wife beater and the pedo enabler that he is, we can't have this kind of infighting among ourselves. The best thing you can do, Mark Stoney, is you need to apologize to Brett Keane for falsely claiming that Brett lied when Brett said that you had claimed that Brett beat his wife and his mother. You need to apologize for this video and then delete this video and then move on to something else. Brett Keane is not the person that you need to be starting a beef with, and Brett Keane is especially not the person that you should start a beef with by lying about what Brett said. Because it's obvious from your own video that we're watching right now, Mark Stoney, that Brett told the truth. You implied very strongly that Brett Keane beat his wife and his mother, even though we don't have hard evidence of it. And then you claimed that, oh, Brett Keane is lying when he said that I said that he beat his wife and mother. Brett didn't lie in this instance. You know, I saw your other videos going after Brett and you using all the manatee imagery and whatnot. And that was one thing, but this is much worse than what you were doing before in those other videos you did about Brett. You need to take this down and apologize to Brett because Brett did not lie. You did imply that Brett Keane has beat his wife and mother, but we don't have hard evidence of that. You and Brett need to just work things out. You need to bury the hatchet and move on from this because we can't be fighting amongst ourselves, especially when we're dealing with someone like Kent Hovind who continually lies and defames people and gaslights people in public and just makes up new lies about people after we've disproved his old lies. When we're dealing with someone like that, we do not need to be fighting among ourselves. So we really need to resolve this issue with a public apology on Mark Stoney's behalf, and then him and Brett can, make amends and go their separate ways. I think that's the right thing to do here. Now, when it comes to Mark Stoney's channel, he still has a bunch of great content when it comes to exposing Kent Hovind for the monster he really is. So I would still encourage you to go to Mark Stoney's channel and check out his videos if you're interested in learning the truth about who Kent Hovind really is. And of course, Brett Keane is Brett Keane, and you definitely should subscribe to his channel and check out his videos too. Both of these guys are good creators who have a lot of great content, and we don't need these two men having a beef with each other. This needs to end right now, and both of these guys need to get back on track with what they really should be doing with their own respective content.